looked in my hive. The brood is all hatched. Don't see any signs of eggs being laid. Haven't seen any sign of a queen out of the 4 queen cells. I am just hoping that somebody's went out and is looking for love and that she comes back. Hey there, John here again, and I'm excuse me, that smoke is good. I'm back in my beehive that I called it, and it's the one that had the 4 queen cells in it, and it's been three weeks since the swarm, 2 weeks since I found the 4 queen cells, and last week I checked it and 2 of the queen cells were open and 2 were still closed. So I thought I ought to try to get in here, and again, this is 3 weeks since the swarm left, and what I'd like to do is just kind of peek in here and see if I can finally see a queen, maybe see if she's laying some eggs. This has been a very active hive lately. They are making this comb here is, they're filling it up with honey, nectar, and they've got about half of it, about a third of it capped to half of it capped. So they're, like I say, the weather lately has been pretty nice this last week. Had some rain, the flowers are really blooming. The bees have been really active. And you can maybe hear them today. They're really flying good. I'm getting kind of close here. Again, this was a bar that I'd put in that they started to draw out when I added the bees to this box from the old box. I've kind of went through it a little bit so you wouldn't have to sit and watch me for so many bars here. But I'm getting down to where those queen cells were at. And I'm kind of trying to move a little faster. The bees are a lot more active today. It's cloudy. It's not very windy today. I used to wonder why I watched these bee videos, and I always said you shouldn't mess with bees when it's rainy, windy. And I noticed most of the videos I've already made here, the wind was blowing pretty good, and one time it was raining, and I've pretty well decided the reason the beekeepers do that is if you waited on the weather, you would probably never get in and check your hives very often. Because the weather, especially here in southern Illinois, it can change from day to day. But fortunately, where I have my hive here, it is kind of in a little cubby hole. It's got the woods to the back side of it, and I do have a little bit of a wind block, I guess I could say. All right, I'm getting right now. This is one of the bars that had the 3 queen cells on it. So I'm going to open it up here, and let's see. Let's see what's happened to those 3 queen cells. If I'm not mistaken, it had a lot of brood on it. I'd have to look back at the video, but it's completely empty of brood now. And all 3 queen cells, if you can see that, they have hatched out. And it looks like they've kind of started tearing maybe the queen cells down. So really what I'd like to try to find now is that queen, or at least seeing some eggs, maybe where she's been laying here. lot of bees, new bees here. The brood is pretty well hatched out. That was in here. So now we're really dependent on the queen to become fertilized and get back in here and start laying again. Here's where we had a lot of brood too, worker bees, and they have all hatched out, and they're currently, looks like they're trying to fill it up with honey a little bit on the top, and they've got nectar in there, but I really need pollen. I really need to see some bees, eggs in here. This here was a new bar that I had put in there, and they are really basically just filling it up with honey. It's got a lot of, about a little over a third of it capped with, the honey's capped. Still a lot of drones there. We are getting, here's the bar that had just one queen cell on it. Let's see what it looks like. Here we can see that they're pretty well tearing it back up, but I guess, I don't know if they redo those queen cells or get rid of them, but it looks like they've been eating on it and reducing the size of it. This here has a lot of pollen in it. A little bit of honey. All the brood that was on there has been hatched out. And I do not see really any eggs just yet. And that needs to be pretty vital here. That queen should be out. Hopefully, I'd had her mating flight. And hopefully she's made it back to the hive here. But I do not see any sign of her starting to lay eggs. Once again, they've made this, this is all honey they're working on. Last bar here. I just see a lot of nectar being put in and pollen and everything, but really don't see any eggs being laid. See several drone there. one bee video I watched, they said when you smoke the bees, you want to hear them humming like that and making a lot of noise. I guess that's right. Maybe that way they're thinking that they ought to be focused on gathering some of their honey up and maybe not pay so much attention to me. I may have to use some help here. I again watched, like I said, I watched a few videos here and there, and the old boy on it, he said you need to have a magnifying glass in your bee box. So maybe I ought to try that just to see if I can see anything in these cells. And again, all I see is nectar at the moment, filling them up. I just don't see anything. Still a lot of bees. Yep. Tried to smash one there. Look at this one maybe. Person really needs good eyesight, I guess. Yeah, I do not see anything just yet. I guess my best bet, like I say, this has been 3 weeks since the swarm. Queen cells have all hatched. I guess I need to check and see how long it takes a queen then to mate and get back and start laying. But I will probably open this up one more week from the day. That would be its 4-week checkup, and maybe I can see then see some activity of the queen land. Again, I've not seen her here going through it, but that doesn't mean anything. So I think what I'll do is I'll look through it as I put it all back together, and I'll close it up, and then maybe check on it one more time in a week. If I don't see a queen or eggs laying, then I'll have to have plan B. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. It's a beautiful day again in the bee yard. So enjoy this spring weather, folks.